Thank you so much. I would like to start with my gratitude to Ruslan and the organizers for providing us the opportunity to share with you our vision and part of our achievements. So this is the 5th talk of this session, so I hope I still have your attention. And certainly you noted that I am the first speaker not to be directly associated or affiliated with GENI. Also, I've been working or cooperating with GENI since its origin. So what I'd like to do today is maybe give you a slightly different flavor of federation with a very practical example of its value. So I'm afraid I won't have the time to present the demo that we have here, but certainly it will be available on the website if you would like to take a look at it, or eventually you can directly access the portal and play your own experiment. It's available today, it's free of charge, it provides a real federation of heterogeneous resources. So, almost 10 years ago, we had this vision of building an Internet of testbed. So it's a slightly different flavor of federation from what Mark has mentioned. It complements this idea very nicely, but it is organized differently. And as Ruslan said, yes, this is how we built FHIR exactly at the same time as GENI, and it's going on today. The idea that we could have a market of resources where users can go and reserve their resources with respect to their needs and run an application, an experiment on top of it. We actually, in 2007, realized this vision in a very specific case by federating two environments. One is Planet Lab Central, operated by Princeton University, and the other one is Planet Lab Europe, operated by UPMC in France. And with those two authorities, a user can subscribe to one of these authorities and being granted access to any resources of the federation. And we have scaled this federation to others, homogeneous infrastructure, like Planet Lab in Korea, or like Emanix Lab, a private infrastructure. But the idea here was to extend it to heterogeneous testbeds. The reason is that we can certainly benefit from innovation because we believe innovation is at the crossroads of technologies. For instance, today, a lot of requests that we have from real users is to experiment not only with, let's say, a specific problem related to wireless or a specific problem related to distributed system, but a topic like mobile cloud, because that's the kind of question that people have to address today. Or for instance, smart cities, smart spaces, where you have to aggregate sensors, data, and push those data towards the cloud. So we basically work through different kind of technology accelerators, so virtualization, this was mentioned, open source, very important, and open data. Data is really key. So I won't have time to touch it, but actually we started with federating measurement system, and we actually working tightly with Mike on this kind of problem. So how can we enable this vision? Actually, we had to go through different kind of issues. Only a few of them are technical. So the first question that we had to address, and again this is a community achievement, was what is the minimum set of functionalities that we have to define so that we can enable federation of resources. And this effort has materialized thanks to the Slice Facility Architecture, SFA, which is used by all those testbed that has been mentioned by Joe and Mark. So whether it is in Korea, Japan, Europe, the United States, Brazil, they are all using SFA. And the value of SFA is that it provides you the ability to expose your own resources. Then, we had also to contribute to the whole experiment life cycle. Actually, the demo that I won't have time to show exhibit the fact that what is required by a user is to define its experiment, browse the resources, select the one you need, then run a script, which again is based on OML that was mentioned by Mike just before. The script will be able to control the experiment, collect the data, and that's why we need also measurement systems, and then export the data to the user. Because the reason why we do this is to demonstrate, to show evidence about a scientific question. That's the value of it. And one of the problems since very long is that it's very difficult to trust the result that the community is producing today. And repeatability, reproducibility is another challenge. So we want to have a system where you could run, for instance, and that's what you can do today with our facility, you can run your experiment on a simulation environment like NS2 or NS3, or you can run it on an emulation environment, or you can run it on real systems. This is not enough. One of the big problems we face is that often those testbeds, they are funded by grants, and when the grants ends, then the testbed is not sustainable. So it was very important for us in the beginning to define a governance model for this facility. And I will show you how we have developed this. And then, of course, what kind of support do we need to provide for operation? And question that will always arise for this kind of system is it sustainable? And I see that Ivan is very careful about this issue of sustainability. So what we did is develop this One Lab facility. So the One Lab facility is completely independent from the project that have contributed to develop it. It provides incremental growth because what we allow is any authority owning resources to join us. There is a legal framework for this, which is very simple. Authorities are defined by organizations who own resources, and they are in the mood to share resources with us thanks to this federation framework. So the abstraction that we have are very simple. The authority that I just mentioned, resources owned by the authorities, and again, those resources are very diverse. Then we have this problem of resource description, which is again a community effort these days, moving from very simple to ontologies, as it was mentioned before. We have users, of course, who would like to be granted access to those resources independently of ownership. Of course, then we have the issue of policies, but this was also a question before. And everything is sliced, meaning that we can allow, allocate a set of resources to a user so that it can run its experiments using those resources. Of course, this was a long effort because we had to agree on a minimum set of requirements, and we had also to develop tools. Some of those tools are international effort, as it was mentioned for SFA or OML, for instance, and others we have developed them within this European framework, like, for instance, NIPI, or like the SFA RAP, that basically are responsible to lower the entry cost for the user. It's very complex for a user to run an experiment in such a facility. So it's important that we can provide the user with a simple portal to be able to develop the experiment. Just a word about the governance model. So today we have a governance model for One Lab. It's an agreement between what we call governors. So today we have 5 governors. So UPMC, INRIA, University of Thessaly, IMAX, and TU Berlin. Why those governors? Because they are the main providers of resources. But it's possible to join the federation thanks to the affiliates principle. So if, for instance, you are an authority, you own resources, for different reasons you would like to join us, it's possible, and you will be part of the federation. The value is that your users will have access to all resources, and vice versa. And in addition to this, we'll provide support. We'll provide registering of users if you would like so, but it's never disruptive. So if, for instance, so we have been operating Planet Lab Europe since 2007, so we know how it works. If we have a user who would like to continue to go through the PLE portal, he can go to the PLE portal. He's not obliged to go to the OneLab portal. If he subscribes to the OneLab portal, then we provide him access to a much broader set of resources, and we provide extra support. So that's the value of it. So we have a OneLab website, you can go to it, onelab.eu, and we have a OneLab portal where you basically are eligible to run your experiment. We have a network operations center that provides us the ability to monitor the different test beds and also monitor the users and the slices. As you can see, we not only provide access to resources like Planet Lab, which again is a quite well-established test bed that was mostly targeting the distributed system community, but we provide access to resources like wireless or small orbit type of network, multiple of them, so that the value is not a single big test bed, it's multiple smaller orbit test bed that we can federate. We provide also access to LTE, and we provide access, you can see it here, actually here, we provide access to about 4,000 sensors deployed in different buildings, including mobile robots. So by the end of this year, we'll have about 200 mobile robots that you can use, for instance, if you want to experiment with mobile fleet, coordination of mobile fleet, or if you would like, so during the introduction, there was a mention about Barabasi work. If you would like to experiment with, let's say, mobility patterns, you could use that. Usage, we opened the OneLab portal only a month ago. We already had about 60 registered users that started to create slices. So not only to experiment with one testbed, but again, the value is really to experiment across testbed. Let me give you an example. This is a real example. This is a request we received from a group of researchers who have designed a solution to use SDN on top of dynamic networks, so like wireless mesh networks. And they wanted to see whether they can design a mechanism, an algorithm, that is robust in this kind of scenario. Of course, they did simulation, but they wanted to see how it works in a real setup, including wireless mesh that are abroad, so that are not in the same premises, but multiple instances of them that are connected. So what you need for this kind of experiment is quite complex. You can see it here. So we would like to have two different environments providing wireless resources, and we would like to interconnect them. This is possible thanks to OneLab because we have this testbed available, and we have the framework to, again, reserve the resources and launch the experiment across those resources. So what is the scientific question? Again, this was not designed by us, but that is the purpose. When we define testbed, this is not for our own pleasure, it's really a nightmare. So it's much more to make sure that we address important scientific questions and that we can provide evidence to the experimenters about whether the solution is right or not. What they would like again to do is to provide a solution to operate an SDN framework on top of dynamic networks. I'm sure you are all familiar with SDN, so you know that there is this controller that is pushing policies to the switches that define the forwarding mechanism. If you have multiple controllers, it becomes more complex because you have to go into a controller election problem. What if the links between the different subsystems, the links between the switches or the links between the switches and the controllers are not reliable, which is the case in wireless environments? How can you cope with this? So what they have designed, and again I will refer you either to the paper or to their papers to check whether this is a good or bad idea, so I won't take any position on this. So they have a mechanism basically that instead of trying to move into a controller selection problem or election problem, which is very tricky, in an environment where the links are not reliable, they decided to move the policy from the controller to the switch. And the switch will become responsible for selecting the best controller at any point of time, depending on the network conditions. So this avoids those problems of controller election. So if you have this kind of setting, for instance, so wireless mesh, a single domain, so to speak, multiple controllers. So basically every wireless mesh router will select a controller, and the controller will push the policies. If something breaks, so you have to bypass and you can continue to go to the same controller if this is the best controller. If there is disconnection, then you will certainly have to go to another controller. So that's basically the mechanism that they have defined. I won't go into details of this, but basically, of course, when you talk about SDN, you always need an algorithm that is providing the routing capability. So they are using OLSR, which is a quite known routing algorithm for ad hoc networks. So on the one hand, to basically provide the means to get the topology. And they have defined this EFTM component that you see here that is responsible to check what are the controllers that are reachable and what is the best controller at any point in time. And then they have this mechanism basically that is embedded in each wireless mesh router that continuously monitor which controller are available and check and connect, to the best controller. There is a list of priorities of controller that is defined and that can be defined by different means. So how do we deploy such an experiment in one lab? First of all, we need to select the right resources. And in one lab, we do have wireless routers, and we can use PlanetLab as a means to emulate emulate switches, or to provide virtual switches capabilities. So we establish tunnels through PlanetLab towards the two different domains. So one domain is hosted by the NITOS testbed in Greece, and the other domain is hosted by the YLab testbed in Belgium. What we can observe with this experiment is we run the mechanism provided by the experimenters. We can observe that during the first part of the experiment, all the wireless mesh routers are connected to the same controller. So that's the first part that you can see in this picture. As soon as, for instance, connectivity is enabled between the two domains, then all the wireless mesh routers will connect to a single controller, which is controller 1, as you can see in the bottom of this figure. And likewise, so if you are in a setting where there is a global connectivity, all the routers will connect to the controller 1. And if there is this connectivity, subset of routers will connect to either controller 1 or controller 2. What they wanted to understand is how good is this mechanism, especially with respect to enabling a similar situation only using routine capabilities. So what you can see in this picture is basically the dark blue lines are related to the time that is necessary to find out that, for instance, you have global connectivity or that you lost global connectivity. So this is mostly a delay that is due to the OLSR dynamics. And the blue line is related to the time that is needed to select a new controller. And basically what you can see here is that using this functionality provides you a solution that is within the same order of magnitude as if you were not using SDN. So it doesn't mean it's going to work, but it means that it's worth to pursue the idea. And vice versa. I don't have time to show it here. So maybe just before I conclude, what I wanted to show you, but again there will be a possibility for you to see the demo, is that to run the experiment, what you have to do is very simple. First of all, you go to the OneMap portal. You register to the OneMap portal. As soon as you are identified, then you can start to set up your experiment. What you can see then on the portal is the set of resources that are provided by every single authority. Sensing devices, wireless routers, Planet Lab nodes. You select the one you would like to associate in your experiment. Once you have done this, then you have to write an OMF script. So that's the second part, number 2. The OMF script will provide you with basically your experiment, which is I connect all the devices, I assume I have connectivity between the two domains, then I go to one controller, and if, for instance, there is a failure, then I will go to another controller. So this is the execution. We collect the measurements. So actually, there was a question about synchronization. We don't need synchronization. What we do have here is a federation of monitoring systems. So basically, it's a means to collect the data that is extracted from every single measurement system. And we have a mechanism to query the data depending on the kind of question you have. And then we can visualize the results, which is basically what I have shown here. So I skipped the video because I don't have time. But what I would like maybe to conclude is the fact that, first of all, what is important is that the experimenters were able, in a simple way, to demonstrate the algorithm. This is the most important point. And they were able to show that, yes, it's worth to pursue the idea, and of course it's worth to continue to design and analyze the algorithm. Second, what we have provided here is a means for anyone who would like to join the federation, to share the resources, to export those resources to experimenters. So it's really the first step towards an Internet of testbed that supports a more sustainable framework for people who would like to really provide resources to the community. So again, you can use it. It's very easy. You just have to declare your organization, and then you can start to play with this experiment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Serge. We have time for one question. Well, I have a question. When I describe my slice of the infrastructure for my experiment, is it possible to describe not only just the resources and the amount of resources, but also, let me say, service level expectation? So if I describe the network infrastructure, I hope I will be able to specify the topology. But I also would like to specify the throughput and delays. Is it possible?
Again, today what we offer is a means for you to choose what you need. We do not provide a service where, for instance, you have this kind of SLA that you mentioned related to throughput or delays, because it depends on what you want to do. What we provide is, for instance, the ability for you to reserve the best resources, which is a different issue. For instance, let me give you two examples. When we were operating Planet Lab, a lot of people were complaining, users, because, for instance, they had to run an experiment with 200 nodes, and the experiment ran for, let's say, 2 days, and 1 minute before the end of the experiment, a few nodes collapsed. So that's a big problem. What we have done, thanks to the monitoring system that we have, is that we provide you the ability, for instance, select the nodes based on their robustness, their availability, or their geographical presence, because Mark, for instance, mentioned the fact that we would like, for instance, to run an experiment where we have nodes in Brazil, nodes in the US, and nodes in Europe. If you, for instance, play with wireless, what we have on the NITOS testbed is a means to understand what are the interferences in the network, in the wireless testbed, when you run your experiment. So that's what we provide, but we don't provide, let's say, objectives that are related to the experiment itself, because it depends on the experimenter.
Well, thank you very much. I hope we